How to grow dahlia from cutting. For propagation dahlia from cuttings, first I choose healthy stem and not under moisture stress for higher percentages root development. Second step, I remove the bottom leaf. Third step, I make a cut below leaf node. Fourth, I plant my dahlia stem about 10 cm deep, until the leaf nodes submerge to the ground. Fifth step, I water my new cutting. Dahlia cutting wilt due to desiccation. To prevent continuous desiccation, I need to make sure that my cutting have enough water for absorption. Since cuttings do not have roots, they cannot replace the water lost through transpiration. Therefore it is important to maintain dahlia cutting in high humidity environment. This is to be done to cut down on the amount of moisture lost to the atmosphere. I must maintain a somewhat high humidity level for a few days in order to successfully propagate dahlia cuttings. Since my climate average humidity, when tried to propagate dahlia cutting are about 88%, I don't worry that much. I also need to keep the root zone temperature warm, at least 26 degrees Celsius when tried to propagate dahlia cutting. My minimum temperature when tried to propagate dahlia cutting is 24 degrees Celsius, and my maximum temperature when tried to propagate dahlia cutting is 32 degrees Celsius. For me, managing and controlling moisture during cutting propagation is critical for dahlia successful propagation. When I try to propagate dahlia cutting, I place my plant at bright indirect sunlight location. In my opinion, if you place dahlia cutting in low light location, it will cause plants to rot slowly. If you put dahlia cutting in direct sunlight, will cause plants to desiccation faster and will resulting failure in producing root. It seems my dahlia leaf is infected by leaf miner. Leaf miner are any one of numerous species of insects, in which the larval stage lives in, and eats, the leaf tissue of plants. To eliminate leaf miner, you can try using Diglifos isea, leaf miner parasite, or neem oil. From my experience, dahlia cutting take about 10 to 14 days to form new root. When dahlia cutting have successful rooted, you can see new growth on the plant. Soil I use when trying to propagate dahlia cutting contain cocoa peat, red burn soil, micro, fine sand, old humus and charcoal. You can use whatever growing media available to your convenience for propagate dahlia cutting. Dahlia flower buds start to emerge. As long as you use well-drained soil to propagate dahlia cutting, you will be fine. Also, if you can, please make sure that your growing media are sterilized and clean. By choosing sterilized soil and clean growing media, will minimize new cutting from becoming infected from disease-causing pathogens. For me, soil pH for growing dahlia are between 6 to 7 pH. My soil pH, when I try to propagate dahlia are about 7 pH. Container size I use for growing Dahlia, height 23 cm, width 29 cm. You also can grow Dahlia in bigger container than mine. The bigger the container, the bigger root system will develop and will resulting bigger plant. For me, the advantage for growing in container is gives me more control over sunlight, moisture and temperature. For this growing season, on average my water usage are about 300 milliliters. In my climate, I water my Dahlia every day. Time I water my Dahlia plant is between 7 to 8 a.m. Water usage depend on container size, container type, weather and climate you live in. Your water usage may be different than mine, and depending on your conditions, you may have to water as often as twice a day. For me, it's easier to overwater than underwater. Overwatering will promote root rot. Finally, my Dahlia flower full bloom. My Dahlia flower size are about 3 inch. I start using fertilizer on my Dahlia plant at day 20. New flower bud emerging. When growing Dahlia, I use liquid fertilizer. Flowers start to wilt. Please read and follow the instructions carefully before starting using any fertilizers. Dahlia flowers start to produce seeds. Dahlia flower are bisexual flowers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more content.